everyone, it's Roberta. I have a book page that I had used my sponges that had excess paint in them and just used the paint on there, and I dipped it in water and squeezed it out and got it all over the page. And so I was going to do a little bit more on here, and I had gone to the store the other day and picked up 5 extra bottles, and in making my own mica spritz using acrylic paints, I learned that using alcohol is better than trying to use water. The water spritzers do not spray. They are immediately clogged up. They're too thick to do anything. And these, I just got them using first time yesterday, and they've already got splatter on it from when I do splatter. And this one has the spray. This one is actually Snow White paint from Apple Barrel, and then Snow White mica from LA Colors eyeshadow. And so I write down the name of the paint, the brand, the day I make it, the color or the brand of the mica. So this is LA Colors mica, and it's the Snow White color. And I also put what it has been made with. This has been made with alcohol. This one was made with water. And it has H2O there. And I made these November 30th last year. They don't work. And you see all that mica down there at the bottom. They don't mix very well. This is poppy with copper, and the only reason that they're mixed fairly well right now, normally this copper is not just this little bit, usually it's up to here. And it's because I was using these yesterday, shook them up pretty good. But as you can see, it's still pretty much a solid mass. It would take about 2 minutes of pretty good shaking to actually get that broke up and thoroughly mixed in. So I made a couple of new colors. These are the ones that I made yesterday with the alcohol, and this is pumpkin orange with radiant, honeysuckle, lollipop, and sunshine. So this one actually has 4 different colors of mica. And this pretty orange one. This white one is white paint with white mica, and this actually is really pretty. This is book page that I did yesterday, and this is what it looked like before I sprayed the whole thing with this white Snow White paint and mica. And so it covers it and mutes the background considerably, and it puts a nice sparkly shine in there as well. This one is bright blue, and this has Snow White mica. This is a neon from Deco Art. It's neon yellow. And this one has the sunshine, which is a gold color of the LA mica. This color is bright red, and it has lollipop, and the lollipop is a pink mica. This color is lollipop, and it's pink. And so this paper has all of these colors in there. So I was going to do a new book page today, which would be this one that has the excess leftover acrylic paint. And I'm just going to play around basically. I'll use the blue. And this does not really have that much color. the color is really faint. So I might need to add more, which I've done to a couple of them. And I already did add more paint. I'm just trying to be careful not to add too much, because I don't know if too much will make it clog up in the spritzer. And I don't want it to clog up. So I've added some more. And it should be a little bit darker. This is fully saturated, so I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to put it on one of these book pages of excess paint. And I just close it in there, mash it in really good to help it transfer. There we go. Let that page dry. Get the rest of it off in another one. And put that to the side. I'm going to dry this real quick. Because it has alcohol, it does dry quicker, but still it doesn't dry immediately. And now I want to do a little bit of stenciling. I found this out in the yard the other day. It's a mesh from something, so I'm going to do a little bit with that. And I think I'll use gesso because I like the resist that I get from it when I paint or spritz over it. Need to make more room over here on my desk. And this will require a lot of the gesso, because the holes in this are pretty big. I want to make sure it's not too wet because I don't want it to just make a mushy white mess. And it's pretty subtle, and that's okay because it's all about layering. Okay. I really like the colors that I'm seeing here. And I did put out a bit too much of the gesso, so I'm just going to put it back in. Just so there's none wasted. And of course I will reuse this with another color. And it'll eventually mix with the gesso in there. trying to find a different stencil. I don't want anything with harsh lines. I'm looking for softer lines, like circle shapes, round shapes. Let me try using this old one. This one is from Janice Wetstein, and I think on this one I will go ahead and do the spray and see how that turns out. And this one is the bright red with the pink mica. And I do want to cover this part of the page, so I'll do it this way. And I'm going to take this and lay it on the page in here. And I added a little bit, not too much, just made it a little brighter. And this just really had too much to get really defined shapes. Pick it up with another page so it's not too much on this one. There we go. And those could go dry. I use the Punchinella with, I think I'll go ahead and use that blue, bright blue. It's going to be with the sponge that I used for the gesso. This is got too much pressure, so it doesn't have the really nice defined lines that I like. So on this one I did a little softer. And it's because this actually had quite a bit in it. And I want to use this half for one thing and this half for something else. So I'm going to leave this, go into my book, find a page. First I'm going to pick up this excess. I know it doesn't look like much, but every little bit helps. I probably would have half of the amount of paint that I have if I wasn't conserving all those little bits. And even though I'm going to use one side of paper, there's nothing wrong with doing the excess paint on the back side, because what that does is it gives that paper more, it makes it a little bit thicker, it makes it have more substance. So I think I'll do it on this page. And the color does not go together with this at all. But sometimes that's what makes it interesting. That's one good thing that these excess paint pages is good for, is just go ahead and laying down a color on a page that you would normally not have used. I see right now, you can see this was the bright blue, and now here is where the gesso is starting to come through. So it's making it a lighter blue color now. But the thing about doing different colors on pages is you get to see what colors work and what colors don't. So in your next project you could say, you know, I remember using this color over that color and it had really awesome effect, or it had a really unpleasant effect, a look that you didn't like, so you'd know not to use it again. So that's another good thing that this is good for. And this is really interesting because this is like a gray paint, and then I just did this color over, and I really like how it looks right there. And I'm not going to use this page at all, but should get like a very light purpley looking color because I'm doing it over the pink. Can also add, I wouldn't add alcohol, I do glycerin water because it stays wet longer, and I can rehydrate the paint and the ink that is in the sponge. And you can see it's got a lot of water in it right now, so it's not making very well defined lines. And the more I use it, the more defined the lines get. This is the back of the page, so it really doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get all the rest of that up off of there. Alright, let's set that off to the side. Alright, I'm done with this one. I'm going to do something on this side. And I think something yellow. I want to try something with the neon. And yellow and the blue in the sponge should make an interesting green depending on how much is still in here. So I'm just going to work it in to help get those colors blended so that when I do pounce it and it starts coming out, has a little bit of a neon green color. And that just is really brightening this side of the paper really nicely. Sorry about the shaking of the camera and the light. I know it's annoying. Okay. So I like this side of the paper better than I like this side. I need to do something else over this side. So I'm going to pour this color out. And again, looking for something with soft lines. I'm going to use this smaller silicone matte as a stamp. I'm going to go over the blue. And honestly, you cannot see that very well at all. something else on this page to lighten it up. There's not very much coming out on this. And this color is actually, I mean, it looks really dark and bright, but when you use it, it's really a light color, very light. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with the bright yellow. And this one is kind of watered down. So I can't use it with this because this needs to have a thicker consistency. It needs to have more viscosity. And this doesn't. So I'm going to use this stencil with the yellow. And it just looks like a sloppy mess because it's too wet. Yeah, it's just too wet. That's okay, I can just go over it this way. And I think I'll just go over the whole thing just to see what it's going to look like. You know, why not? That really brightens it up, which is what I was wanting. Alright, so now I have two different designs on this paper, and I want to make it into ATCs. I'll be right back. I need to get paper for ATC. I'm back. I have a piece of the Georgia Pacific, that cheap paper, but it's a cardstock weight, so it's a little bit thicker. I'm going to glue this down. I have a sponge that has some watered down glue, but I am also going to add some regular glue. So with some regular PVA school glue, and then I'm going to use this one that has quite a bit, like, you know, it's sopped up. So I'm just going to get this thing completely soaking wet, spread this glue out, and even though I put fresh glue on here, most of it is getting sopped back up into this sponge, so I will need to add some more. But right now I'm just adding it on this paper really well, being very generous. Every corner, even with the pages trying to curl up on me, I'll lay them back out. Put the sponge away. My fingers are still all sticky. And then lay this down. And because it's fairly wet and liquid, I can kind of slide it around on the paper to make it line up on the edges. And then kind of smooth it out. On this side it's not, so I need to come back around. A little bit more water. And sometimes I spray with the glycerin water to help it stay wet. just so that I'm able to line up the edges. Okay. And now I just need to let this dry, and it'll curl up. And this side will get all this gunk on it, but that's okay. No problema. Still just trying to line this edge up. Back when it's dry. Hi everyone, it's Roberta. I'm back. These got dried, and then I cut them, and I picked out a few items that I was thinking about putting on there. I'd have to color that one. This is the one I'd already done. This one I found made a couple more flowers. And these are a couple of die cuts I was thinking about putting on this one and this on this one. And not sure what I was going to do with that one just yet. So to color the rooster, I want to use ink, not paint, because ink is more transparent. I'm trying to pull out some colors to use. My inks are in a dresser right next to me over here, and not easy to get them out. Alright, so pulled out a couple of colors. And the way that I use ink, I'm going to use a water brush and some glycerin water and some dye-based inks. I'm not really sure what colors I want to use, but I will put the ink on the block and then do the coloring. I'm going to use those colors. Alright. I'm going to do the orange for the, actually need a red too for the wattle on the top of his head. I have some red. This one says it's a washable ink, so it's not a dye ink. So let's see if I can find a red. It's a dye ink. Candy apple red. I don't really think there's much ink in here. I might have to go with the other one. Let's see. There's the slightest slightest amount on there. Yeah, really not enough to do anything. This is dry, so I need to get a re-inker for that. I don't think I have any other. Let me see if I have a Stampin' Up! Red. Hi everyone, I'm back. I dried these and cut them into ATCs. Picked out a couple of dies to put on the ATCs. This one is a rooster I need to color. I picked these two for that one. This for this one. And that's still the other one. That was the first one I'd done. And these were a couple of the flowers that I added onto this one. Alright. So I pulled out some inks so I can color the rooster. And I am going to put the ink on my stamping block and then pick it up with a water brush. And the first color I want is red, so I can do his wattle and his comb. This part's the comb, this under his beak is his wattle. And the way I do this is I just mush it onto here. Not really sure how much I'm going to need, so I'll just use a little bit at a time. And use the glycerin water. Just get the brush the slightest bit wet. And this has shading in it already, so it's already going to be darker than what I'm going to be painting it. This rooster is a character from out of one of Bill Pete's books. And I love to read Bill Pete's stories to my kids and grandkids. My kids are grown now, but I've read them to my grandkids and they just delight in them because they're so much fun and they use so much imagination in the stories. And Bill Pete, when he was a kid, his mother had got a, looks like a gigantic guinea pig, and I know what it's called, I just can't think of it. But anyway, he has a story about having one of those when he was a kid too. Okay, now I need to wash off this color so I can use another color. And I'm going to go to Tutti Frutti Orange for the beak. And I only want a little. And this may be, actually, I'm not going to use it for the beak, I'm going to use it for the legs. And then I'm going to go over it with a little bit of yellow. Guess I'll do the same for the beak, might as well. Keep it consistent. the colors of beaks on chickens and roosters and guineas and all other species of birds, or fowl as they're known. The colors all are different. The colors of the combs, the wattle, the beak, the legs, the ear, and the feathers, depending on the breed or the mixed breed. And I will need to use some paint, like for the eye. I need to paint that white. And after I paint it white, I'll have to put the black eye back in there, in the outline. I'm going to pull out some of this. This is acrylic paint mixed with mica, and I'm just going to pull out a little bit and see if it's going to be sufficient to change the color of the beak and the legs. If not, then I'll just pull out straight ink or paint and do it. I can see it's changing the color, but it doesn't look like it's really making it that much more yellow. And I can see I forgot to color one of the toes, so I need to do that. With the orange, go back over that. And back over with this. Actually, I guess I could have used peach Bellini, a much lighter shade. I didn't think about it. Okay, now the feathers on a rooster, they actually have lots of colors. A lot of shade, a lot of sparkle. I'm just going to squeeze this so I can get some of this night of navy here. That way I don't need to do it on here. But I do want to spritz the glycerin water on here. Go off a little bit. Pick some of this up. It's going to really be dark, so wash some of it off. The tail feathers are just absolutely magnificent on a rooster. They're very, very handsome. And I love roosters. I love to listen to them crow, even if it's early in the morning. I just really enjoy the sounds of farm life. And that includes the rooster, and a lot of people don't like it. But I'm one of the people that I just love a rooster. I think they're just magnificent looking. And I just love to listen to them. And I like to watch them with the ladies. And I am got no clue how to color it. I can see colors in my head. That doesn't mean I'll be able to transfer it onto this. I'll clean this off. Poke in there. A little bit of, yeah, more. They really don't have much purple. They do have blues and greens and turquoise and teals. Pretty ugly looking, isn't it? Sadly, this is my way of coloring things. need to finish off part of that beak. It didn't all get colored. You can see a little bit there. Okay, I need black for the eye. I don't know if that white is dry yet or not, but we'll go ahead and put the eye in there. Okay, so the only thing I need to do with the rooster is to, actually I should color that little bit right behind his ear. It's usually like this off-whitish kind of a color. We'll do it this, see if we can get enough of this color. Because it's alcohol, I don't think it's really doing what I was wanting, so I'll go with this. And the color looks really crappy, but when I do the outlines with the black, it should look okay. Okay, I'm back. I found a sentiment, make your own path, so I'm going to add that. And I want to add 3 of the little black rhinestones on there somewhere. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue him down. I had a rooster named Percy, which I named from that movie that Ashton Kutcher was in, and the father-in-law's name was Percy. So I named my rooster Percy. That was one of them. I had lots of roosters. I had another one I named Big Red. I had so many I can't remember all their names. It's been quite a few years back now. Back when I had a house with about 3 acres of land, and we basically turned it into a farm, started off with chickens, and then we added goats, well, we added rabbits, ducks, and a couple of other things, but mostly we did chickens and goats. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, is the one who got us started on that adventure. She went to go pick something up, I don't remember what it was, from an older couple, and they were trying to get rid of their chickens. They had about 6 chickens, hens, laying hens, and a small homemade coop. And they said, hey, are you interested in having this? And Nicole's like, you know what, yeah, I think I will. And so that was what started it. And at first I wasn't too sure about it, and then when she was talking about getting goats, I was for sure she was out of her mind, because I thought goats would just be nasty, a big mess, you know. I'd never had goats before, so I didn't know, and they can be boogers, but oh my goodness, they're one of the most amazing farm animals. Such loving critters. And they make milk, and they are an absolute delight just to watch. And then when they kid and have babies, oh my goodness, they're so cute when they're happy and they jump up in the air because they're dancing because they're so happy. The adhesive is not really coming with this, so I'm going to end up having to glue these down. And I don't like when the adhesive is off like that. It just looks really not so nice. So get rid of that. Make our own. I mean, if it's going to show, I'm going to let it show because I added my own because I know it'll hold it. These are older, so they're not going to stay on there. Well, they're going to stay on my finger really well. If I try to put it on my ATC, it won't. Okay, so just 3 little blobs. Of course, now the trick is to get it on without getting it on the front of it. You just want it on the back. Okay. Alright, so that's going to be my ATC for the day. I don't know what you guys think of it. I'll take a picture and post it online. Let me know what you think. Click on like or the thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe and share and leave a comment. Thank you.